So in the last video, we populated our database with the tables and some data, and we learned how to use the select statement. Now, like I mentioned before, every time I teach you a new command, you will find some videos that demo the command. So I will be demoing it, demoing the commands in my lecture videos, but you can also find other videos that do the same thing. I will paste for you a link on W3 Schools for the command. I will show you the syntax and I will show you an example. And I highly suggest that you be running the database and testing these commands along with me as you are watching the video. Watching the video is not enough. Watching me do it is not enough. Doing it with me will help you grasp and memorize these different commands. So the first command that we learned was select. We learned that I can select specific columns from a table, or I can say, show me just all columns. So if I know a table exists, but I don't know what columns there are in it, I can just say select asterisk, and that is a wild card that will match all of the columns. Okay, so let's go to our SQL developer, and let's see, for example, what departments we have. So I'm going to say select asterisk from department. Okay, and let's run that and see what departments we have. And we find that we have 9 departments. They are different departments, and each one has a unique department ID. So think of department ID as kind of like your banner ID. It's a unique way of identifying a department. Now, if I say select asterisk from customer again, and I run that command, sorry, I didn't want to show customer. I wanted to show employee. So let's run employee and run that. I will see that every employee has a unique ID, a first name, a last name, a salary, and they have a department ID. Where is this department ID coming from? It is actually coming from the department table. Okay. Now, the next thing we want to do is do selective selection. So for example, instead of saying, I want you to show me all the columns from a table, I want to show certain columns in a table that match a certain restriction. So for example, I want to see all the people, all the customers that have a first name that's Alice. So let's run this command. So here, select asterisk from customer. Is that customer? Customer, yep. Where first name equal to Alice. And here, because Alice is a string, I have to wrap it in single quotes. Okay, and I will run that command, and it shows me that there's only one customer that has a first name Alice. I could do things also like select star from employee where department ID equal to 7. I want to see all the employees who work in a certain department. And here it shows me all the employees that work in department 7. So we can do selection using the select, doing some restrictions using the where keyword. Now, what I also want to show you is that you can use uppercase letters or lowercase letters. So if I retype this last command using select, all uppercase from employee where department ID equal to 7, that will just give me the same result. It's usually better to use uppercase letters because it makes it easier to, when you're looking at it in a text file, to see the keywords. The other thing is that usually if you say, select whatever on one line, and then, from the table on another line, and the restrictions on a third line. Sometimes people like doing it on separate lines like this, so you can see the restrictions together on one line. It's a preference. So if you prefer using lowercase letters, you can do that. If you prefer uppercase letters, you can do that. If you prefer making it all on one line, you can. If you prefer putting it on different lines, you can. The only important thing is that you have to make sure that you end it with a semicolon. If you forget the semicolon, it just does not work. Okay, so it's going to complain that it's not ending properly. We can use the where clause to do restrictions. If you're using, if you're selecting on a string, like you're filtering on a string, make sure you wrap it with single quotes. If it's a number, you don't need any quotes. And with practice, you'll memorize all these. When you're doing the where clause, you can also use comparison operators. So I can use like greater than or less than, or greater than or equal, less than or equal, or something that's equal or not equal. So for example, here, I want to see the customer ID, the first name and last name from the customer table of all the customers that have an ID greater than or equal to 5. So let's try running that. Okay. So let's going to do star from where customer ID is greater than or equal to 5. And here it shows me that the customer ID is 5 and up. Okay. If I just said greater than 5, it's not going to include 5, for example. Okay. If I wanted to say equal to 5, if I just want to say I want customer ID that's 5, it'll only show me the customer ID that has 5. If I want to say not equal to 5, I can use the less than and greater than sign, and it will show me all the customers except 5. So it goes from 4 to 6. It's skipping 5. So I can do that. With the greater than and less than, you can also use not equal, kind of like in programming languages, Java and C++. So that will give me the same result also. So we can do these types of comparisons with numbers. We can do these types of comparisons also with strings. So here I can say where, for example, first name is greater than Alice. So it's going to show me all the names that come after Alice. So here, all the first names that I see are after the letter A. Let's choose after Fred or after F. Let's make it after F. So it's going to show me all the ones that are after F, including ones that have F. Why? Because I wanted anything that's greater than F. So if you think of a dictionary and you think of F as being a word, if F is a word, Fred comes after F. Now, if I don't want Fred, I could just say after Fred, greater than Fred. And so now it will show me all the ones that have first names that are greater than Fred. And so when we're doing these comparisons with strings, we're doing them based on their character, their ASCII code. Can we filter on more than one thing? Basically, can we have the logical operators like and or, like in programming? And the answer is yes. We can use the word and the word or. So for example, I can say I want customers who have a first name greater than Fred and let's say have a customer ID that's greater than 5. So if I do that, I should get 8, 9, and 10 only. So let's test it and see. And I get 8, 9, and 10. So you can use and. Now if I say or, it's going to give me customers that have a first name that's greater than Fred or have an ID greater than 5. So I'm going to get a bit more. So I got all the ones that had a customer ID greater than 5, which is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At the same time, I got all the names that were greater than Fred. So Teresa, Louis, and Ralph were greater than Fred. So I can use ands and I can also use ors. And here are a couple more examples that you might want to try on your own. Now you can also do that with dates. Dates are treated as strings, so you would put them in single quotes. When you're using a string, when you're using a date, the syntax always has to be the 2 days dash 3 letters for the month and then the year. So let's try that with the employee. Let's say select star from employee where hire date is greater than 01 December 14. And it should show us all the employees that got hired after December 1st, 2014. And so if I come here and I look at this column, they're all after 2014. All the years are after 2014. So try these different commands on your own. Another kind of filtering that we can do is using the word like. So when I say where equal, I'm saying it has to be equal to this value exactly. Like is kind of like a pattern. So you want to do a partial match. So for example, if I want to see here in this example, I want to see the first name and last name from the customer table where the first name is like, and I'm using the %, PH. Well, what does the % mean? The % means one or more characters. So basically it's saying, I want you to tell me all the customers who have a first name that ends with PH. So it can be any number of characters followed by PH. So let's try that. And because it's a string, I have to wrap it in the single quotes. And so it gave me all the customers that have a first name that ends with PH, Ralph and Joseph. Okay, so that is the definition of the %. Now we could also do it with dates. So I can say like, for example, and then I can say %14. So now I'm saying match any date as long as it's in year 14 or 2014. And so now it's going to give me all the employees that were hired in 2014. So the % means match any number of characters. Now the underscore means just one character. So here if I say where the first name is like JOS_PH, so I'm saying match any person, any customer who has a name that has JOS and then any letter and then PH. So let's try that. Oops. And so here I will probably get only one Joseph. Okay. Now, Oracle is case sensitive. So if I do lowercase j, it is not going to find anyone. Okay, so it is case sensitive. Lowercase letters are not the same as uppercase letters. Here's another example. I'm asking for all customers that have a first name like %S%, meaning if they have any letter S in their name, any number of characters before, any number of characters after. So let's try that. And it should give me all customers that have an S in their name anywhere. So here we have a person that has an S here, S in the last letter, in the middle, and in the last letter. So this is another way that we can do filtering with the select. So we learned how to use select all the columns, selecting specific columns. We learned how to use the word where, and we learned how to use where with the comparison operators, using ands and ors, and using the like. So what I want you to do now is do the classwork. So when you go on Blackboard, let me show you together how to get to it under classwork. And this is part 1 that we are doing. So we're going to click on part 1. And the first classwork we did already. This is the second classwork. What I want you to do is download the document, this doc file. And what you're going to do is you're going to fill this document and then you're going to submit it in the classwork assignment. So what you're going to do, let's wait for it to open first and then I'll tell you what to do. So basically you're going to have a list of queries that I want you to construct for me. So here I want you to select all the data in the product table. Well, what's the command to do that? I want all the columns, so that means it has to be select asterisk from, what's the table name? Product. So you will run this command. So select asterisk from product. Okay, and you'll test it. And once you're happy with it, good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this line, Control C, and I'm going to paste it here. So let me just enable editing. I'm going to paste it here. So this is my command. and I want to see your output. So I want you to see the output from this. So I have the snipping tool on my computer. You can also search for it. I'm going to create new, and I'm going to just highlight the data. Control C to copy it, and then come back here to the output and do Control V to paste it. And it's okay if it does that. Just try to make it a little smaller and then move on to the next one. Okay, so this is how you do the classwork. And once you have solved these 5 questions, you're going to save this document, and then you're going to come back to Blackboard. You're going to click on the classwork assignment title. And here there's browse my computer. So I'm going to browse, and I'm going to go and see where I saved this file. Since I downloaded it, it's in my downloads folder. I'm going to click on it, click open, and it's going to show you the document, and then I'm going to click on submit. So once you're done with the document, make sure you save it and then submit it on Blackboard. Now for classwork, you have an unlimited number of times to submit it as long as it's before the deadline. I will try to grade your classwork submissions within 2 or 3 days from your submission. And if there's anything wrong with it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a grade based on what you did and write a comment for you that tells you what's wrong and what needs fixing. And when you get it back, you have the ability to fix it as long as it's before the due date. Now, when is this classwork going to be due? All classwork and homework will be due 1 week after we finish a chapter. So for example, if we finish a chapter on a Monday, then all the classwork that we had been assigning for this chapter, in addition to the homework for that chapter, for that part, because the part is several chapters. So all the classwork for that part, in addition to the homework for that part, will be due 1 week after. So if we finish a chapter on a Monday, everything for that chapter is due the week after on a Tuesday. And so if you are doing the classwork day by day and submitting it, then there's no way that you won't get the full grade. As long as you submit it and I tell you what's wrong with it and you fix it and resubmit it again, you can get all the points for the classwork. Now, let me tell you also about the homework. The homework is online. It's usually multiple choice, true or false, matching. And when you submit the homework, it'll tell you what grade you got. So it'll tell you like you got, 15 out of 20. It's not going to tell you what you did wrong. It's just going to tell you a grade. And if you want to go in and try doing the homework again to get a better grade, you can do that. Now, there is no penalty for going in and doing it again because I've set it up so that it captures the highest grade. So if you do it one time, you get 15, and then you're like, okay, let me try doing it again, and you get a 12, it's going to count the 15. So the purpose of the classwork and homework is really to make sure you master the information and help you get it and memorize it all before an exam.